Hello and welcome to Talk to the Fish, the only show where we help you improve your diving skills without getting all waterlogged about it. Listen to this message from the viewer, Deep Thinker. I always get a blocked nose when traveling to scuba dive. What can I do? Well, that blows! Nothing ruins a dive faster than feeling like your head's been compressed by a whale's tail.
I've got 6 practical tips to prevent nasal congestion.
What treasures of knowledge have you brought from the depths to help these congested divers?
First of all, avoid overexposure to air conditioning. When traveling to tropical destinations, we often crank that AC to Arctic levels, but those drastic temperature changes irritate your nasal passages.
Which means your nose becomes more confused than a fish swimming into a glass tank. Those blood vessels in your nose expand and contract so quickly, they throw a tantrum.
Exactly what happens. When you go from cold to tropical heat repeatedly, your nose pays the price.
It's the equivalent of stepping from a scorching sauna directly into an ice bath. Your body revolts. Nobody wants a nose rebellion right before a dive. What else can help our stuffed up friends?
My second tip is crucial. Stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water throughout the day, especially in hot climates, where you lose fluids quickly. Many divers get so caught up in preparations, they forget this fundamental step.
Nothing wreaks more havoc on a diver than dehydration. Your body becomes as parched as a desert fish. And suddenly, that expensive dive trip becomes a nostril nightmare. How does water help specifically?
Well, proper hydration keeps your mucous membranes moist and functioning properly. When these tissues dry out, they become irritated and inflamed, which triggers congestion.
So, your nasal passages are essentially a garden hose. When dry, they get stiff and clogged, but with enough water flowing through your system, everything runs smoothly. What's your third gem of advice?
Use a saline nasal spray regularly during your trip. A mild saline solution helps keep nasal passages clear and moisturized. Many divers overlook this simple preventative measure, but it makes a tremendous difference.
It washes away all those invisible troublemakers, dust, pollen, salt crystals, before they can start a riot in your nose. It's essentially a gentle car wash for your nostrils, rinsing away grime before it builds up.
That's a perfect way to describe it. Most divers wait until they're already congested, but prevention works much better than trying to clear congestion after it develops.
I'm hooked on these tips already. What else should our viewers know before they take the plunge?
My fourth recommendation might surprise some divers. Protect yourself from sunburn.
Nobody thinks about their nostrils while slathering on sunscreen, but they should. How does this whole body approach help specifically?
When you maintain proper overall hydration by preventing excessive fluid loss through sunburned skin, you're supporting healthy mucous membrane function throughout your body. If the leaves of a plant are scorched, the whole plant suffers. Similarly, protecting your skin helps your entire system stay balanced.
That's a green thumb approach to diving. Treat your body as one connected ecosystem rather than separate parts. What's your fifth piece of advice?
Limit your exposure to irritants. Many vacation destinations have different environmental factors than what you're used to. Strong perfumes in tropical resorts, dust from unpaved roads, or even different pollen types. These can all trigger nasal congestion.
This is where divers need to become detectives. Those invisible troublemakers are everywhere. Your nose might react to something you've never encountered at home. How can reducing these irritants help?
By avoiding these triggers, you dramatically reduce inflammation and irritation in your nasal passages. Just as you would avoid smoke to keep your lungs clear, avoiding nasal irritants helps keep your nose clear for diving.
That's being proactive. Nobody wants their expensive dive trip ruined because they spent the previous evening in a room with 20 scented candles. What's your final tip for our congestion-fighting divers?
Get adequate rest. Travel fatigue is a major contributor to decreased immune function. When you're well rested, your body is much better equipped to handle environmental changes without overreacting with inflammation and congestion.
Sleep might be the most underrated diving equipment there is. A fully charged phone works much better than one with a low battery. Rest recharges your body in the same way.
That's right. Getting enough sleep before and during your dive trip strengthens your natural defenses against all those congestion-causing factors we've discussed.
Your nose will thank you when you're gliding through crystal waters with clear passages instead of fighting to breathe. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
If you remember nothing else, focus on prevention rather than treatment. Start using saline spray before travel, stay hydrated, and get rest before symptoms appear. Your underwater adventure depends on it.
Thanks for swimming by our little corner of the ocean, Regis. You've saved countless divers from the misery of blocked passages. That's all for today on Talk to the Fish, where we solve your diving dilemmas, even when they're nothing to sneeze at. I'd say today's show was a breath of fresh air, but considering my gills, I wouldn't know the difference. Tune in next week when we tackle the question, why do remeras attach to divers, and how to convince them you're not a taxi service. Remember, folks, until next time, keep your regulators wet and your sinuses clear. Swim away with us again soon.
Forget all the troubles and blues. Dive into the blue. Oh yes, talk to the fish.